KD, Kyrie, and the Nets are the only team to get swept in these playoffs. The Nets have been the betting market darlings all season long, at the top or near there despite all the problems this season, partly because of liability and the thought that maybe once in the postseason they could put it all together. Well, all is not good there in Brooklyn. It is no longer smiles out there at the Barclays, and Kevin Durant lost in the first round for the first time since 2010 with OKC in his first playoff series of his career. He had won 9 straight first-round series. Notable contracts, KD through the 25-26 season. You see Ben Simmons there as well, and Kyrie Irving with an opt-out 2023 free agent. Here is Kyrie on his future in Brooklyn.
I never wanted to just be about me. And I think it became a distraction at times. And, as you see, we just had some drastic changes. We lost a franchise player and we got a franchise player back. But, we didn't get a chance to see him on the floor. In terms of my extension, man, I don't really plan on going anywhere. So, this is, like I said, this is added motivation for our franchise to be at the top of the league for the next few years. And, I'm just looking forward to the summer and just building with our guys here.
They'll have a lot of veteran free agents, including Blake Griffin, LaMarcus Aldridge, and Andre Drummond. With that, we bring in maybe a free agent that can give, 15 minutes we've established there? Avery Johnson joining us here on CBS Sports HQ. Coach, back in 2019, Kyrie Irving and Kevin Durant both signed with the Brooklyn Nets. The thought was that they were going to put together a championship roster. It's an easy question to ask. I don't know if it's an easy answer, but what happened?
Well, several things happened, and, I'll get to Steve Nash in a minute. But when you look at this season for the Brooklyn Nets, this starts with Kyrie Irving. When Kyrie Irving decided not to take the vaccine and missed all of those games, it put a lot of pressure on Kevin Durant. And put so much pressure on Kevin Durant, they had to really scratch and claw just to make it into the play-in. This was a team that was picked going into the season on a lot of people's opinions that they were going to be the number 1 seed in the Eastern Conference and have a chance to compete for a championship. But Kyrie Irving's decision derailed the team. They ended up playing in the play-in. Kevin Durant had to use so much energy. He was completely worn out at the end of the season. Then you make the trade for Ben Simmons. He's not available, and that was a fiasco. And then they played against a much better Boston Celtics team. The Celtics were a 2 seed for a reason. Starting January 1st, they had one of the top 2 records in the Eastern Conference. They caught fire in the second half of the season. They had better wing play. Tatum, Brown, Smart Defensive Player of the Year, much more mobile bigs inside. They got Robert Williams back at the end of the last couple of games. Just a much better roster, a much better team, and especially defensively. The Nets were putrid on the defensive end all season, so they weren't going to reincarnate themselves. So when I look at this team, what happened, I think about Ben Simmons, but primarily Kyrie Irving's decision, because this team should have never been in the play-in situation. They should have been one of the top 2 or 3 teams in the Eastern Conference, which would then put them in a much better situation.
We saw those images with James Harden. That big 3 just never turned to fruition the way that Nets fans and really any association fan certainly thought. Let's get to
Tommy.
Yes.
And Tommy, because of Kyrie Irving's decisions, that's why James Harden wanted to get traded.
And you've said that since day one, and you continue to say that now. Let's get to Steve Nash, as you referenced. You've been in his position before. Only one coach at the end of the year gets to say that he did everything he could and sought out every accomplishment that they had. What do you think about Steve Nash and his future with the team?
Well, Steve Nash, under the circumstances, did the best that he could do. All right. This big 3 didn't work out. Steve Nash 2 years ago was sitting in Canada, working with the Canadian national team, minding his own business. And somebody had the wild idea that we're going to just hire a guy with no coaching experience to come coach this team, similar to what the Golden State Warriors did with Steve Kerr, but it hasn't worked out. Steve Nash, great guy. I was his teammate. but he was overmatched in this series against Ime Udoka. Just, no real serious adjustments. But he'll learn. It'll come more in time. He wasn't an assistant coach. This is his first head coaching job. If, they bring him back, he'll go back just like the rest of the players do, evaluate his situation, make adjustments. But the one adjustment they're going to need, bigger, longer, more athletic wings. Patty Mills, Seth Curry, those guys, even though they can shoot the ball, they can't match up with these Boston Wings or the Milwaukee Bucks wing players, or they can't even match up with the New Orleans Pelicans wing players. So I think the roster is going to be an issue. I agree with Steve Nash, 3 through 8, but not only just 3 through 8, they better get the number 2 guy ahead right. That's Kyrie Irving. We keep going back to that, for them to have the type of team that's going to make Steve Nash a better coach.
And before I let you go quickly here, but the big thing, of course, at the end of the day, too, that Kevin Durant likes Steve Nash, and Joe Tsai, the primary governor there, also in tow.
Yeah, he's got the support of the best players and a $1 trillion owner. What more can you ask for? So, moving forward, they're going to have to get the right assistant coaching staff in place. Players are going to have to buy in. And then they're going to have to get Ben Simmons on the court to see what this is going to look like and what they envisioned when they made the trade for Ben Simmons.
Ben Simmons did not play 1 minute for either team this year, citing mental health issues for him. All looking forward to next season. Avery Johnson breaking it down here on CBS Sports HQ. Coach, certainly thank you very much for that. Taking a look at the playoff games tonight. Only one closeout situation in Miami. The Heat can put an end to the Hawks' playoff run. ATL bad on the road this year.
Do you want a sports network that delivers everything that matters about the game? The highlights, the picks, the instant analysis. No yelling, no fake debates, no politics. Hit the subscribe button and never miss a moment.